Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble.
Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. It's your boy Ben Humble here. Hope you're having a blessed day. Hope you're having a safe day out there and you're cranking. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about some amazing stuff, primarily the story of perseverance. What is it like to be at the lowest point in your life at 20, 21 years old, not making money, scared to move forward, and then finally just pushing through it? What is it like? See, a lot of us, we go through these different things in life, and we get to these low points. And sometimes we get stuck. And what I recognize in the mentorship and stuff that we do is that most people, they just suffer, at some point in their life from a low degree of confidence, which just comes from these massive, massive internal limiting beliefs a lot of times, and just a low level of self-esteem. So, I want to talk to you today. I'd show you a beautiful story of just success, of growth. I think it's so important during whatever's going on in the world to focus on the abundant side of things. The glass half full type of stories. You see, because we still have to draw inspiration from somewhere. And I'm excited to get right into a story today. My new friend, Mr. Cody Askins, is here, and I'm excited to get into this conversation. This dude is a stud, and, let's get right into it. So, Brother Cody, welcome to the show, man.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, man. Excited to be on.
Thank you for being here, man. Hey, I'd love to get into this with you, man, and really try to understand your journey. Before we jump into that journey side of things, can you just give us a quick overview of what is your life and business look like today?
Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got about a half a dozen companies that are helping and focused on the insurance industry. I'm going to get into my story a little later, I imagine, but it's my day-to-day's busy. I'll have 12, 13, 14, 15 meetings, 16 meetings on the schedule every day, managing 2 different sales teams, multiple companies. And dude, it's busy and fun, man. It's like you, I'm passionate about what I do. I can tell with your energy, your excitement, your enthusiasm is contagious, and I'm big on energy. So I can already feel the connection.
I love it, my brother. I love it. And you've got a lot of cool stuff going on with your 8% Nation, which we'll touch on that as well, and the different companies that you own. So let's kind of dial it back a little bit, man, because we'll kind of get to the success part of the story. But let's talk about, where did it start for you? What age were you, and where did this kind of seed get planted that you were going to do these great things in business at one point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't tell this story a lot, but I was back when I was 15. I was 15, 16 years old. I was selling on eBay, and I would make like 5, 10 grand every summer just selling stuff on eBay out of the garage and the shed and the house, and stealing my sister's stuff and everything else. And, it was just an entrepreneurial spirit. And I guess I got it from my dad, and it's just ingrained in me. It's part of my DNA. But man, I always felt, and I think you probably felt it too, and a lot of people do, that we were meant to do something bigger than whatever we were doing or whatever we are doing. And I just know for me, I always knew I wanted to do something big, man.
Wow. Dude, that is such a substantial statement to make, because I feel exactly like you, Cody. And maybe you can shed some light on, how do we identify that feeling? Is it that we have this potential in us, man, that we just know that we someday need to recognize? Or how do you vocalize that feeling? Because I know it's tough sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And there's moments in life, right, that we start to lose sight of that feeling or that potential. I know for me, I got out of the gate and made 6 figures and did well in college. And then shortly after, it was like, well, what's my purpose now? I hit that goal. I was thinking so short term that I really lost that drive to continue to do something next, the next thing. So really for me, it was, I want to get I felt like I've always been very confident in myself, extremely driven, always felt like I could achieve anything. But there's times in life where we feel like we're playing small, and at some point that switch has got to flip, if you will.
We came to Canada in 1991 with nothing but a will to thrive. They risked everything they had, left behind everyone they knew,
The only way out of the country was illegal, and the risk was huge.
I adopted the mindset that my parents had of faith and vision for my life. You see, they helped me understand that you get to decide what happens in this world. By the age of 30, I became a millionaire. I refused to accept scarcity, limiting beliefs, or someone else's excuses. So you want to know what the secret is? People ask me all the time, what's the secret? You want to know what it's going to take for you to succeed? Here's the truth. And so when did that switch, like when did that happen for you? Was that after college?
No, it was actually during college. So my story is I was 19 years old as an intern at a local insurance office. I was making cold calls. I've got a big old blown up phone here, but I don't know where it's at right now. And I was making cold calls for a veteran agent out of a phone book. And I kind of saw that I had some little bit of skill. I knew that I was meant to do sales, even at that age. I saw agents having success and agents failing, and I thought, well, maybe I can do the same. So fast forward a few months to now, I'm 20 years old. I'm in college at little Bible college in Springfield, Missouri. I'm taking 21 credit hours a semester. I'm a full-time student athlete, practices games, tournaments, playing basketball. Could have made a lot of excuses. I decided to become a full-time insurance agent. And I remember going to a recruiting meeting. I'm big on stories, by the way. I remember going to a recruiting meeting and the manager has 10 of us stand up. Okay. He's like, all right, take a look around. Okay. So like you and like others, I'm starting to size people up. And he says, okay, now 9 of you sit down. And he says, maybe one of you will make it.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, this dude doesn't know me very well. Like, if there's going to be a one, I am going to be the one, you know? And I've always had that confidence about me, and it's not arrogance. It's just, it's just a confidence. It's more of a humble confidence than anything else.
Amen.
And in that moment, I took out a pad and a pen, a piece of paper. I said, I will earn $100,000 my first year in the insurance business. I'm 20 years old, no sales experience, no insurance experience. I dated it, I signed it, and I hung it up in the wall of my cubicle. And then every day I went out to make that a reality. And from cold calling and cold door knocking, I worked hard and I made $117,000 my first 8 months in my career in college.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think that's just a powerful statement. You knew you were the one in that room. And I want to touch on this, like and both of us are faith-driven guys. And, I believe that one core element inside of us is really just impact, personal and corporate impact. Like, we understand on some deep, meaningful level that we're destined to go and help and impact people. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is by impacting ourselves, developing ourselves, and being able to fill our own cup so we can fill other people's cup. Because nothing else is more satisfying than helping other people. And even though we don't recognize that, when we're broke and when we have nothing, it's not just about making enough money to be rich. I think it's, what are we doing with it beyond the wealth? Where does that sense come from you? Like, how did you know you were the one?
Yeah, for whatever reason, man, when it came to sports, when it came to business, when it came to, internships, college, I've always had this little bit of internal swag that I knew that if I wanted to, right, if I was serious about it enough, no matter what it was, I felt like I could compete and win against other people at just about anything. I felt like I could set my mind to something and become really good at it. And I don't know where that comes from, because it's very odd, but you even said something a second ago about the money. Like, if for people that think it's about the money, when you obtain the money, then what, right? If it's all about the money, dude, you're going to find the money one day, and then what, right? Yeah. And then it's just, what's next? And so for me, I made the 6 figures my first year in the insurance business when 92% of insurance agents fail. That's where 8% agent comes from. And dude, I had no clue what next was for me at that time, because I'm like, well, I guess I do it again, I've done it. You know what I mean?
But you knew that at that point you need to just do something bigger. So you're 20 years old approximately. You're like, okay, that's it. This is gonna be me. I'm gonna make it happen. So where does that lead you? How do you go from there to, you know, having all these different individuals, working with them, building this up? Like, how does that path progress for you?
Yeah, so I was an agent for several years. Had a lot of success on the captive and the independent side. Love sales. You know, I believe everybody has a gift in life. My gift is getting people to make a decision. You know, right now. I transitioned into, because for me, the real reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today is I've always enjoyed helping other people make sales.
Yeah, man.
I've enjoyed myself making sales, right? So I remember a manager coming to me and saying, hey, there's two young agents up in Columbia, Missouri, north of Columbia. They're 3.5 hours away from you, 4 hours away. They're struggling. Can you go up and door knock with them for just a day? You know? And I'm like, abso-freaking-lutely, I would love to, you know? And going up there and helping them make multiple sales in one day when they had not made a sale for 30 days meant the world to me. Like, I went home like more excited than when I made the sales myself.
So there really is that quality of being willing and able to help people. You know, Jim Rohn says, help enough other people get what they want, you'll eventually get what you want. And I think that attitude of servanthood is so important. Talk about this in the idea of sales, because we look at the insurance industry. This is an old industry and probably the same old approach over and over again. I find that for us in real estate, it's very similar. If you have an always be serving attitude versus an always be selling attitude, I believe that you actually grow so much more financially and every other capacity. What's your idea on that, man? Like, are you a hardcore closer kind of guy, or how do you perceive this, you know, sales approach?
Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, I'm hardcore about my you know, craft, but I'm not hardcore as in like I'm not extremely aggressive. I am, but the client doesn't feel it if I'm in a sales situation, right? So very respectful, very agreeable, really focusing on building rapport in the relationship. And I end up getting a lot of deals and a lot of sales a lot of people wouldn't get. And I get it in a unique way where people are like, no, I don't want you to sell me. I'm just looking. And then 45 minutes later, they're thanking me for buying, you know? And that's just really came natural. Jordan Belfort talks about, you know, natural born closers, and there's no doubt I am one. And I think that's what's helped me throughout my career, you know, because we've got companies, we've got 40 staff members here. And for me, my gift is really like promotion and sales. I leave the operations and everything else to a lot of amazing people that are much more talented at all that than me.
Yeah. Dude, I know that feeling, man. So take me back a little bit. That whole knack, where did that come from? Was that a nurturing thing, like maybe with your parents or people earlier on in your life? Or where did you notice that natural evolution of your sales ability? Maybe how did that start off for you?
Yeah, that's funny. That's a really good question. I don't think I haven't been asked that question before.
Come on, man. I'm going to ask you all the hard questions.
I'm shocked. I'm glad you did, though, because I remember being able to, like, I grew up in a very conservative home, right? Like, I got spankings with
Amen.
You know, a wooden paddle.
Yes, sir.
All the time, man. And I remember talking.
Did you grow up in my house? Did you grow up in my house by any chance? No.
Yeah, I was downstairs. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, dude. It was the American version of your Canadian home or wherever you grew up, right?
Yeah. Well, that would have been the Romanian background. That was the one thing we brought over from communism was the butt whippings. That was part of it. So, anyways, you're a young kid here. You're getting the butt whippings. How does that develop for you?
Dude, I got to where I could like talk myself out of spankings, or I could like, you know, blame my sisters and get me, or you know, when I'm going and pitching girls, you know, well, I guess not Girl Scout cookies because I'm not a girl, but you know, pitching whatever I was doing, candy bars or something as a kid, right? I would get to where I could go and like sell a box and be the first, you know, and raise the most money in the school as a kid because I just wanted to win, and I was good at getting people to like donate, I guess. You know, like
so you just put your So you put yourself out there, because I had a similar experience, right? Like, we used to raise money I was in a Christian school, private Christian school, right? And they would give us the little chocolates, the little walnut things, and we would go stand outside of the Zellers or whatever, and the Walmarts, and we would just sit there with these little boxes and go like, hey, would you buy this for $2? And I'm a little kid, and I'm just being persistent. People would walk up. Some would say yes, some no. But I think that's such an important skill that maybe these days, like, we don't really get to really experience that. Like, defend for yourself. If you want to make $10, you better go and sell something. Like, talk about how invaluable that was to you now in your career and life.
Yeah, I mean, all those little wins, when you have to literally shoulder the load and go out and make something happen, all those little wins throughout your life builds that confidence to where, I can go ask for $1 million and not quiver, right? And that wasn't the case back then, but all those little wins in life, you need to be gaining knowledge and skill and leveling up and gaining confidence along the way, because you are becoming a better version of yourself as you have those little wins.
Oh, man, I love that. Now we're talking about some of the mindset things that really, the 1% better every day, or the slight edge every day, the personal development, little bit. I know you're like me. You're a big personal development guy, and I'm sure you've read and invested in yourself. What does that look like for you, some of your personal development journey, or some of the things that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I got to a point a couple of years ago where I was doing good. I was building a name for myself in the insurance industry, but I really wasn't going for it, man. I really wasn't taking the risk. And I finally woke up one day and I said, you know what? I'm done being average. I went to 10x2. Decided to start throwing our own conference. Decided to start spending $1,000 a day on ads. Decided to start actually hiring a bunch of people. And these last 2 years, 25 months-ish, maybe 27 months, something like that, I've spent probably about $250,000 on myself, not my team, not marketing, just personal development, self-improvement, like business coaches. I was paid $21,000 to sit front row at 10X this year again. Stayed for the 2-day mastermind after, 12,000 people in a room, down to 12 people in a mastermind. I've seen it level me up. I also, every time my like Coach Berg talks about prey drive, my prey drive is activated when I get around big time people.
Right.
And I've noticed every dollar I spend in personal development, I absolutely always get a return. And I think that's one of the biggest, success secrets, if you will, or hacks is that, dude, when I get a chance to like spend some money to learn something, like I was watching Evan Carmichael on, I don't mind saying this, I was watching Evan Carmichael on Jordan Belfort's YouTube and on his podcast. And I'm like, this dude sitting here making fun of Jordan Belfort's YouTube channel. I've got a YouTube channel. This dude must know his stuff. So I looked him up, went to his website and gave him a bunch of money to start helping me with our stuff. Like I now I'm so addicted to like, this person, like Ben Humble knows something I don't. I need to know it, and I'm addicted to like paying to level up and learn it, man. So
dude, it becomes an absolute drug. So a lot of people were changed at that event. I actually had somebody on here a couple days ago. So I was at GrowthCon 2 as well, and I remember Grant Cardone coming out. There's 9,000 people in the studio in the stadium, and he says, "Man, your biggest problem is you're living in obscurity." And I'm like, "Yeah, Grant, but I'm a Christian. And I'm supposed to be under the radar, and I'm supposed to be quiet, and I'm not supposed to make a whole bunch of noise or, be gossiped about and all this thing." And then I had a very defining moment then. It was like, you either are willing to put yourself out there and take the criticism and have massive impact, or just recognize and accept the fact that you'll never have massive impact. Because everybody who's done significant things before you has been subject to criticism, has been subject to all kind of discrimination, have been subject to, even Jesus Christ, right? So it's one of those things where if you truly want to live in massive purpose, the purpose has to be bigger than the pain. The purpose has to be bigger than the criticism. And you have to have faith, which is basically hope activated through action, in my opinion, that you've got to take enough action and live in that faith, knowing that at some point you're gonna succeed and get over that critical hump. get over that criticism mountain, if you will. But I was in the same room you were, man, and I think that it was a defining moment for people. So I love what you're talking about. $250,000 in your brain. What does that do to you, man? Because for me, it's like I got over 200 grand in my brain as well since that day. And it's what it's done is the level of confidence and perspective has gone through the roof. Like, I really understand what I didn't have a clue about years ago. What has that done for you? Can you articulate that? By the way, if you guys are interested in real estate investing and you are in Canada, I wrote a book here called Real Estate Secrets Exposed. Learn how to actually make money virtually, which is cool, from the comfort of your home. Yes, it is possible if you understand the value and how to do wholesaling. And if you don't know anything about wholesaling, you need to grab this book. It's absolutely free. There's no page numbers. There's nothing else in there. It's just ready to go, though. Humble.ceo to grab your free copy.
Dude, I mean, I feel like I can go in any room and like have an intelligent conversation with, like, you know, some of the most impressive people that I know, which I would have been laughed out of the room just simply 18 months ago, probably.
Wow.
You know, for me, it's like, okay, I'm wanting to put on this conference. I'm wanting to be known as a subject matter expert. I'm wanting to be a public speaker. I'm wanting to be a, you know, the insurance industry's #1 sales trainer in the world, right? I can't accomplish all these things and have the private jet that I want next year and all this other stuff if I'm not actually, and I can't tell people, hey, you need this training or you need this coaching or anything else, if I'm not actually investing in it myself. Like, what kind of hypocrite am I if that's the way I talk?
Oh, man, dude, you hit it right on the mark. My biggest pet peeve is entitlement and hypocrisy. And that's the one thing I never want to be. You know, I come from the communist country, Romania. We fled before the revolution on foot. And by the grace of God, we made it in a refugee camp, oldest of 9 children. God brought us to Canada, you know, through his grace. And then we landed here and we started a whole new life. But I know what it's like to come from a place of complete oppression. And when you come here and you're like, dude, I almost feel like it's a privilege and a responsibility to do amazing, great things in this world and not be held down by other people's self-induced depression. But that takes a willingness to get out of that comfort zone, and you have to carve your own path for whatever's there for your life and your purpose. What do you think, for you, who's obviously developing businesses, doing these huge things, what do you think is the calling or the purpose on your life that you're really trying to live out every day?
Yeah, so I want to leave a legacy on the insurance industry like no one's ever left, and I want to help every insurance agent in the world. I want to do everything in my, like, and that sounds insane, but dude, we just had insurance agents from like 8 different countries, 9 different countries reach out to us in like over the weekend. You know, so like we're having some impact, and we're really trying to do this thing. But I want, you know, when I'm dead and gone, I'm no longer here. I want people to say that dude had the biggest heart towards helping insurance agents of anyone they ever know, you know, and I can't think small or do small stuff or not spend money and not get around people like you and that be the case.
So let me ask you this. Did did insurance agents, brokers become your tribe in a way, like you were surrounded, so you're just being effective in the circle that you are? Did you know ahead of time that was going to be like kind of the domain you want to play in? Or was that just kind of gifted to you, like this is your area, you need to just serve and grow here? Like, why this segment?
Yeah, it was kind of gifted. I mean, my dad's been in the insurance industry over 30 years. I grew up in it. Okay. I did, but I wasn't the kid on career day that raised his hand and said, I want to be an insurance. But I did really gravitate towards it. 18, 19, 20 years old. And I was, and you know what? My dad instilled a lot of the confidence and got me thinking bigger before I ever thought bigger. Like, he told me, you know, like, I expect you to make 100K, you know, you're my son, like, you're going to be better at this than you realize, like stuff like that. Like he was, you know, feeding me with that stuff, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even realize it.
Was he whooping you at the same time? Was he spanking you when he was telling you?
Pretty much. You know, he's like, don't do that again, but you're going to do this. Okay?
I love it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, pretty much, yes.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So now you're developing this thing, and TEDx has made a big impact. So a lot of us, whether you like or dislike, you know, Grant and his philosophies, you really got to appreciate the hustle, appreciate the effort, appreciate making it aware. Like, before that, I didn't know who the go-to be obsessed business person was, right? Like it wasn't relevant to me. So what is that? How does that now translate over to the 8% Nation? Talk to us about that movement, because I know you've got a lot of cool stuff and big stage, a lot of big speakers on that stage with you. What, you know, how does that look like?
Yeah. So the insurance industry is very old fashioned, out of date, old school. The average age of an insurance agent is 59 and a half, right?
That's the average? 59 and a half?
The average.
Okay. So not millennials at all.
No, gosh, no. I mean, it's starting to be more now, but I'm like that generation is definitely attracted to me because I was in their shoes not too long ago.
Right.
But for me, it's like I'm looking around and I don't see an event that is modern, hip, freaking, fun, exciting, that everyone can plug into. Like carriers are putting on events. Certain agencies are putting on their own events, but you have to be a part of their company. Like I didn't see one that was an all-encompassing 10X, if you will, for the insurance space.
Yeah.
And dude, if I don't create this, I'm going to look back. And a lot of people made fun of me. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, as they probably have you too. Like, they made fun of me like crazy for even thinking about doing this. Like, who is this young punk kid having Grant Cardone and Ray Lewis and spending $600,000 to have a conference at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee? Who is this idiot?
Come on.
But I knew that if I didn't start it now, if I didn't do that, didn't pull the trigger, didn't take that risk, somebody would, and then I would regret it later that I wasn't the dude that did it.
But dude, that's playing huge, man. That's like, to somebody who's watching the hustle, and I call them reachers versus leechers. Like, we're reaching, right? Reaching for people, reaching for opportunity. And if you're not a reacher by nature, you're just an automatic leecher. So you're leeching on to people. You're like, no, it's like that old crab in a bucket analogy. You get all these crabs in the bucket. One tries to get out. They pull that sucker right back down. Dude, when you've got the cojones to spend $600,000 on an event, man, I'm sure there's people saying, it's not going to work. It's not possible. But you have to do this.
Yeah, our first sponsor sent me a check for $10,000 and said, hey, also, if this doesn't work out, will we get our money back? I mean, I had so much of that. Like, most people thought there's not going to be anybody there. This is never going to happen. This dude is insane. And the one thing I did well was I brought some of the biggest names in our industry together, and I use it as a way to collaborate and network and get to know others instead of just making it all about me. And that paid off in a big way. I didn't realize at the time, but looking back now, it would have been an absolute massive failure had I not done that.
So now what's the result of putting all this together? Because give people what it looks like on the other side of the bridge. Now you put it all together. You spent money on this. Where does it leave you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've lost over $500,000 on the first two events.
Okay.
That makes people feel good.
Yeah.
But we have companies that have benefited from it. So, the scoreboard isn't as lopsided as it looks.
Sure.
However, dude, events are the toughest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Getting butts in seats, getting people to come to a location, like, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. However, I want to do hard stuff. Like, I'll talk about my daily Power 5 later or now or whenever. I finish every morning with a cold shower on purpose because I want to force myself to do stuff I don't want to do. A lot of people out there are preaching that if you don't want to do it, Ben, don't do it, bro.
Oh man, I hate those people. Sorry. God bless you, but can't deal with you.
Yeah, come on. We both know that successful people do things that unsuccessful people are unwilling to do.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right. That's the only core difference, man. It's the slight edge. It's every day putting in the consistent things. It's so easy to do your workout today as it is to do it tomorrow, and that's why we don't do it, right? It's like, man, I can just do it tomorrow. It's 11 o'clock at night. I just got home. I'm not in the mood, and that's why you're pudgy. That's the only answer. So tell me, I got my core 5 I do, but I want to hear yours first. What are the things that you do every day on your personal development?
Yeah. So I did. I wake up between 5 and 5:59 a.m. I get a good workout in, right? And here's my workout results from this morning.
Boom, okay. Beast, man.
So I burned about 700 calories. That's a little lighter, but we did a lot of squatting and deadlifts and stuff. Okay. So I have a two trainers actually that I work out with different days. I write down my goals every single morning, and I got massive goals, right? And I believe in goals and writing them down every day. You're smiling, so that's probably one of yours. I also read, listen to books, audiobooks, and YouTube videos every morning, so that I'm continuing my learning and progression. If we're not moving forward, moving backwards. And then I finish for a couple minutes with a cold shower every morning, so that it's good for you. It wakes me the freak up, and it forces me to do something I don't want to do to start my day. It gets me out of my comfort zone on purpose.
Dude, I love it. So are you in the shower like, in the mornings? Are you making noise? No, you're just chilling in there, like straight chilling.
No. I still mad, dude. It's still extremely uncomfortable. Especially, I was speaking at an event in New York in December, and I'll just tell you this: the cold shower in New York in December is a whole nother level of cold.
Dang, they're getting it right from the river or something, man, right?
Probably that way. You probably have colder showers in Canada than I do in Missouri. So.
Yeah, I guess. Well, so I've kind of got the same thing. I call it my core 5. So mind, body, spirit, relationship, and money every day, right? So every day I do my reading. Every day I do my workout. I've been doing like 75 hard, so sometimes it's 2 workouts a day. I've been doing, I'm definitely on a diet, macro count, all that stuff. And, spend time with my wife every day. That's an absolute must. And then I also want to focus on my money. And I believe if you hit those 5 things from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, then you're going to have a productive 1% day. And then 100 days from now, you're a whole different person. If you were at 10X, you remember Ed Milet said this beautiful thing that I always come back to, which is like, I want to double who I am every 12 months. Literally every year, double who I am. My effectiveness, my understanding, my knowledge, my awareness. So that by the time I'm 70 years old, that guy is so far greater than who I can even imagine him to be. And I thought that was so profound. I always come back to that in my mind. It's like, did I double this year?
That's nuts. That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy? Because I feel in the last 2 years, man, I've done a massive shift. I used to be pudgy, overweight, hide. I used to I have my real estate shoes that I bought to impress people because I'm in real estate. So I buy those crappy slip-on black loafers, that everybody has just to look professional. I wasn't myself. I drove the car that I thought people wanted me to drive. All this stuff, and now I'm just like, I'm humble, right? 2 years later, gone through the criticism, gone through the noise, still going through it, but God is good, so we just keep pushing forward. And it's so liberating to get to a point where you're just like, I'm living life by my own design thanks to my creator. Versus I'm living life by the Joneses' design, and I'm just living in fear and scarcity all day. How do you cope with this? How do you cope with living in fear or faith? 2 big things for me. Always fear over, fear and faith. How do you, in your business, you're growing, you're hiring people, you spend $600,000 on this event. How do you cope with those 2 things, man?
Yeah, I mean, we're hiring people every single day. We got 4 more starting this week. We have such a sales problem in that we can't keep up, which is a good problem to have. But that's promotion and sales is that's my skill. So and typically companies embody this skill of their owners, and then they eventually start to build out and But for me, it's I'm trying to operate in some level of fear, like to get on and do this. Dude, 18 months ago, I would have been sweating like crazy. I was scared to death, right? But for me now, after that event, then I'm like, okay, what's next for me to do? So I went and did like a 16-city free live tour around the country. And I'm like, okay, what's next for me? So I started doing retreats. What's next for me? Oh, well, now I have a separate sales team selling something totally separate. I'm trying to find that next level up for me. And right now I'm in this stage where I'm like I was traveling every week, speaking at events and everything else. And now I'm, but because of COVID and everything, I'm like not traveling as much. So I'm in this state where I'm like, dude, I gotta freaking run, man. I gotta do something. And I need something right now to so.
That's how we are, man. We're always on the run. And sometimes when you're looking from the outside in, there's kind of those 2 thought processes. One is like, well, how much is enough? Don't you have enough? You're greedy. You're this, you're that. People who think that way just don't understand it. It's not about enough. It's about greatness. And you can never have enough greatness. And with greatness comes all the other byproducts, money, awareness, mindset development, relational awareness, financial acuity, and all these other things. They all come as a result of you persevering and trying to achieve greatness. It's barriers in life. The more barriers we conquer, the more revelation we have on the other side of those barriers. So that's how I see things, man. So when my body's not going and I'm not out doing big things and running around and starting shows and doing this stuff and real estate trainings and whatever, like I'm happier. Like this whole weekend, man, we did the math. We put 24 hours of work within 36-hour period this weekend, like right here, with like a whole bunch of amazing investors training. It's loving on them, serving, and I'm physically tired, but my mindset and my spirit is fulfilled, right? So is that how you perceive this, like work ethic? Where's the fulfillment for you come in play?
Yeah, so I mean, there's people that have personalities like ours that we're not chasing the money, and there's nothing's ever going to be enough, and not a bad way. It's just that we are never actually personally satisfied with the results, right? So if people ever take a DISC assessment, you can take it for free on Tony Robbins' website, right?
Yeah.
D is like, okay, I'm decisive, I'm driven, I'm a self-starter, I'm a risk taker, I'm aggressive. People that have a high D personality, they wake up like they've never accomplished anything in their life.
Amen. Yes.
I wake up frustrated, like, what am I doing, man? I gotta move quicker. I gotta run, man. What the heck's going on?
Come on, man. Dude, keep going with this. This is a great thought. Keep talking on this.
Well, dude, a lot of people don't know that. They don't realize that, like, that's some people like think there's something wrong with them when they're not happy making six figures.
Yeah.
Or they're not happy making seven figures. Like, it ain't about, like, I could be making $100 million personally right now. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to strive for more and to be better and everything else. It ain't greed. It's just that, dude, I was meant to do something massive. And I always just want to be on a challenge and a quest to do something big.
Love that. It's like the game, man. We want to keep winning the game, right? And because winning the game allows you to do certain things, impact people, help people. I've got this poster behind me from a good mentor of mine, Mark Evans. And, I remember we were at a business conference together, and, this guy came from Carrying House Project, and he showed up, and he's like, I want to raise some money for Haiti, for this project to build this village. And I remember Mark was like, how much do you need? He's like, I want to raise 10 grand. And the guy said, okay. Mark's like, no, we'll do better than that. Let's go raise more. Let's raise 100 grand. And I remember literally getting getting there, and I was emceeing the event. And dude, we raised $151,000 for Haiti in a matter of half an hour. And it was powerful stuff. And it was the most exciting, fulfilled moment I've ever had as a business owner. And I've got a painting in the other office that we spent about 20 grand on. And people are like, what is this ugly painting? This painting is 4 houses for families in Haiti. And it's just such a powerful thing. But those are the things you get to do when you pursue greatness. I'm coming out with this book in like the 16th of June, this whole story, and all the money from here goes to Haiti. I want $0 from here. I wanted to go to Haiti. But I think that's what it comes down to, man, is the greatness, man, because we can achieve amazing things because amazing things require money. So give me your thought on that. It's like, what's the thing that you're kind of shooting for other than the money? Like, do you have a goal, a charity or something that you're working with?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, my wife's actually looking into several charities for this year's 8% Nation conference, by the way. But for me, dude, you mentioned outside of specifically money and a money goal. I'm a big fan of freaking planes, man. Like, I want my own plane. I want to be the dude that travels around the country every single week, helping insurance agents do better. Love that. And like you talked about limiting beliefs, I paid for the mastermind, the 50K mastermind with Grant Cardone and his team, after 10X4.
Yeah.
And some people are like, dude, that's insane. Why would you pay that much money? Well, I'm like, I got to sit with 11 other people in freaking Grant Cardone, like, why wouldn't I do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the addiction coming out, because I was frustrated that I felt like I couldn't yet, and I couldn't afford it, which is insane. But in those first 30, 60 minutes, I got my money's worth, because he talked about limiting beliefs, like you just talked about earlier. And he talked about mapping out and creating your ideal life. So for me, I'm 29. What do I want my life to look like in 40 years? And it involves having a private plane.
I love that. I love that. And having that clarity is so huge. So many times, man, we're just running around in ambiguity because we don't have an actual goal in front of us. So we're running. We're in this rat race. And I see this with real estate investors, right? Always running in this rat race. I'm an investor. I bought a duplex. I have this. It's just a different rat race, dude. You don't have a clear path to where you're going. You have no clarity. You're not taking time to evaluate really what you're trying to do here. So you're running in this thing. So I love the plane because the plane does something, man. It cuts time. It contracts time. And we know our friend Judge is huge on contracting time. Like people who say they can't. It's obvious, right? Like I can't afford this. Of course you can't. You can't because you already decided. The moment it comes out your mouth, you decided. I have no time. Of course you don't. You just told me you didn't. You're 100% right. You're validated in your opinion. The problem is your opinion ain't going to make you more money. So you with like, I need a plane, it's like I need to be in control, get there quick. Dude, I love that goal. You and Bert, man, because Bert was on the show. You guys will just be chilling on the planes, man. You'll just be crossing paths, giving each other a little wave or whatever up in the air. Dude, that's awesome, man. I'm so thankful for the stuff you're dropping. So tell me now, like, okay, so you're 29, which by the way, dude, super impressive at 29 doing what you're doing. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm older, dude. I'm 35, so I feel like I'm an old man right now. I'm like, Sonny, yes, get over. You know, that's what I feel like right now. Every time I meet a guy who's younger than 30, you know, crushing stuff. But, dude, I love it, man. I love it. And so what's next for you? Like beyond here, man, like what's the big goal or what's something that you can share with us that we can kind of track with you as you keep growing, as you keep pushing forward?
Yeah. So a big thing for me is, you know what, I mean, what 10X2 looked like, I want 8% Nation to get there.
Love that.
I want people like you and me to I want other people like you and me to be doing podcasts talking about that massive event that they met at 8% Nation. You know, like I want that to be the effect on our industry, and there ain't another one out there like it right now.
Dude, it's gonna happen. Speaking it into existence right now. Here's what I love about this. I think Grant set the tone for a lot of people, realizing that the old school industrial way of doing your industry, dude, it's over. Because in 20 years, you're irrelevant. Millennials are here. They're not going anywhere. Things are changing. They grew up with technology. They grew up with the internet. They grew up with a lot more connections to rock stars and music. If you watch GC versus listen to GC, there's something to acknowledge there. That in 10X, the last one they put, or the one before 10X3 that was in stadium in Miami, dude, who was on stage? It was rock stars and rappers and all this stuff, and he rolls out with Snoop and fishes in my nizzle. Like I was like, dude, this guy gets it. He understands the value of awareness and getting entertainment component and education together. Because if you can't keep people engaged, you can't educate them. They'll get bored and close their eyes and they'll be out. So I really commend you for taking something that's industrial and you're making it exciting. You know, that's awesome, man.
I mean, yeah. So at 10X, I was speaking at another conference in Vegas. I made it to 10X3, but I flew red eye overnight, got to Miami at 7 a.m. just for the last day, day 3, Super Bowl Sunday. Just, it was such a spectacle that I did not want to miss it. And so then we went back again for 10X4, sat second row, diamond tickets. I should have bought them sooner. Gosh dang it. It's like, dude, I would have paid the same price 30 days before, and I wouldn't have been looking at the dude's bald head in front of me. He would have been looking at mine.
So let me ask you this as we kind of move forward here. Let's talk about the idea of investing in yourself. So many people see mentorship as an expense. You and I see that as an investment in our own futures. You see, the Ben Humble of next year is so far better and more equipped, more everything, more capable, more aware. That dude is going to make me $100 million. This dude might be stuck at 5, 10, 15, 20 million. That dude is making me $100 million. I'm literally investing in that guy. Every time I go to a mastermind, every time I talk to people like you, can you give me some insight into how you view masterminds and coaching? Because for me, it's the only shortcut I know is to steal somebody else's awareness. And I steal it or I buy it every time I get around them by buying their time and buying their understanding. How do you view that stuff?
That's right. I mean, yeah. So when I'm talking to people about this, I'm like, do you think this will benefit you in any way? Is there a chance you'll get a nugget, even the smallest nugget, in any way? Right? Obviously, it's a yes. Because of that, I know for me, when I look forward in 10 years, let's just say I'm 39 and you're an old 45. Okay?
Yep.
In 10 years, right? And in 10 years, I don't want to look back and say, gosh dang it, I could have done more. Gosh dang it, I should have done this or I should have done that. And so for me, if I think it's going to help even this much to be in a different place in a decade, it's an absolute no-brainer.
I love that. Love that. Especially for guys like you and I who get up every day and it's like, what am I doing today? Time to go, time to go, time to go. And if you know that you could do more, if you know that tomorrow you can wake up with the superpower of more awareness, more opportunity, more relationships, more connection, investing in other people. Like investing in relationship is the highest producing ROI. This conversation could be worth $100 million one day. You and I do something on a stage. Very likely, right? Now it's highly probable we probably will do something on a stage somewhere somehow. But it starts with this one relational connection. If you know that you could have a massive opportunity tomorrow, which keeps compounding every day and becomes this exponential growth, and then you don't do anything about it, it's always that same old adage. Woulda, shoulda, coulda 10 years ago. Back in my days, I don't know why I keep doing this accent today. I would have bought 50. Like, dude, I bought 12 houses when I was 25 years old, and now I'm like, I should have bought 250. Like, I feel horrible. I'm like, oh man, I only bought 12. That was a bad move when I was 25.
That's freaking amazing, man. Like, let me brag on you for a second. How many 25-year-olds do you know, or I know, or anyone else freaking know that owned a dozen homes? Like, nobody.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. But the truth is, man, like now looking back at it, and we're at today, 250 plus properties, it's like, okay, but knowing what I know now and knowing what I know about 2009 and 2010 and all this other stuff, I should have got a mentor. I should have got somebody who said, hey, man, if you can do 12, you can do 24. Like, if you can do 12, you can do 36. All you need to do is change your perspective, get a more macroeconomic viewpoint of your business, and don't go so micro into the details. Don't be so in the weeds of your company. And when I finally learned this stuff from mentors like the man who gave me this painting, I was like, dude, I can finally grow. Like, dude, it took me almost 8 years to make my first $1 million, and then the next million within 18 months. Because it was just a matter of like, I finally know what I didn't know. My brother Chris Rude says, you don't know what you don't know, man. Right? He's from South Louisiana. Don't know what you don't know. So
I mean, you're gonna have to be you're gonna have to teach me a thing or two, because we're getting some cash flows from companies now, and I don't know what to do with it. So.
Likewise, man. We're definitely going to learn from each other, bro. That's the way we need to do it. We're definitely going to help each other out, man. So, dude, my brother, this has been a phenomenal conversation. I do have something for you that I'm going to share. But before I do that, can you tell everybody what's the best place to connect with you further, to follow you and kind of your journey?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite two places are Instagram and YouTube. Sorry, I guess Facebook owns Instagram, so I don't have to say sorry, Facebook. But Instagram at Cody.Askins on Instagram. We're following each other. Yeah. And then YouTube, Cody Askins. We've got, I don't know, Dylan, 2,000 videos on YouTube now. We've been cranking. We crank videos out like nobody in our space.
Come on, nobody. Man. I love it. We're going to put that on the screen, folks. So drop it here real quick. Hans, throw it on the screen for my mans on the IG handle side. And people saying, yeah, if you got cash flow, boom, boom, boom. Okay, love it. So, dude, this is such a powerful conversation. I'm so thankful. Folks in the audience, if you're watching this today live or you're watching it later, I want you to go follow my brother, Cody. Stay connected with this man. You don't meet many, like, young, ambitious guys that are also so committed to the follow through and the execution. When somebody says, I'm going to drop $600,000 and do an event and I'm rolling with this, time to watch, time to pay attention. I love being a fly on the wall when I meet people like you, because I'm like, I don't need to watch this guy. Who knows what we do 5 years? Who knows what you do 10 years from now? Phenomenal thing, especially at 29, man. So, dude, I'm so thankful. I'm appreciative of you investing in my audience. Appreciative of you, like, investing in the Canadian community here now, because we're going to bring you international, my brother. Hey, it's Ben Humble. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what my guest is talking about and you're getting massive value from it, then scroll to the bottom, open up the description, and follow them on social media. Support them, connect with them. Just scroll down there, click the link, and let's roll. Stay humble.
Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble, featuring daily episodes of the Humble Podcast and weekly video content providing motivation, real estate strategies, and personal development for everyday life. Also, follow Ben on Facebook and Instagram for daily interactions. Check out humble.ceo and download a chapter of Ben's new book, From Communism to Capitalism, absolutely free.